So we're back then with another build video for Tiny Tina's Wonderland. This is actually an update to a video I'd done a few days ago. The video was a showcase of a Spellshot and Graveborn hybrid spell build. Now I just finished the story at that point. The reason I'm doing a video today, and I'm really happy I've managed to get this far already, is that I'm actually at Chaos level 20, which is the maximum that's available in the game at the moment, and I'm able to smash through it. I didn't really have any trouble at all with it, so the build absolutely rocks. Now in the video what I'll do is I'll start off with a quick overview where I'll run over some numbers on the build and the general thematic playstyle of it. Next up we'll have a look at the skills I'm using. We'll then check out the gear. We'll focus on this section a bit more than we did in the last video. The last video was all about the skills. Because we're now in the end game, you have to really min-max your gear, so I'll spend a bit more time in that section. I'll very quickly tell you where I've placed my myth points. That's the Paragon system that's available in the game, and then finishing up we have some gameplay as well. Now the gameplay at the end, something went wrong with the sound, so there'll be no audio, but you will get the visuals for it anyway, and I'll just put a music track over it there. But let's jump in. Let's start off with the overview first. So this class combination then is known as the Deadshot. It's a combination of the Spellshot and the Graveborn. It's all about spamming spells as quickly as we can. Through doing that we get an incredible amount of survivability. I can't actually remember the last time I was downed at all, and we get an insane amount of damage on top of that. Now just to break down what we get from an offensive and defensive point of view. Defensively, every time we cast a spell, which will be every few seconds, we gain 10% ward, 30% health, we have 35% damage reduction via companions, we have a bonus 20% dark magic damage which offers us life leech, we have 25% damage reduction at low health. We then have now maybe above the levels of diminishing returns, so if you know what the cap is then please let me know in the comments below, but we then also have 80% spell cooldown rate. It's probably way higher than it should be. Again, let me know if there is a certain amount I should be stopping at, but that allows us to spam our spells. Damage wise we gain 80% damage for our spells via spell weaving, we gain 76% gun damage increase via various parts of our kit. On casting a spell, which we will be doing every few seconds, we'll have around about a 40% chance to reload our gun. We'll gain, once we have multiple stacks, 100% additional health, 100% additional spell damage, and we'll also be able to summon Hydra companions as well. So that's everything you're getting from an offensive and defensive point of view. Absolutely amazing, as you can tell. Let's now jump in. Let's look at the skills that I'm using. So we'll go over the skill section very quick. If you want a more in-depth breakdown, check out the last video where I focus more on them, but I'll just let you know which ones I'm using here. So it's Ambihextrous, that has to be the one we're going for. The way this operates, your R1 won't work as an active ability or active skill, it will work as a spell, so you won't be able to proc anything that comes off an active ability at all, but you'll be proccing a ton of things that actually work off spells. Now looking where our points are, we've got Spell Sniper, so we've got increased crit chance. We've then got 45% of our spell damage increase converted to gun damage, which is absolutely incredible. We have full points in Font of Mana, so that's our spell cooldown rate. We then have 1 point in Mage Armor, that's giving us 10% ward every time we cast a spell, incredible for survivability. We have 1 point in High Thread Count, so that gives us the 8 spell weaving stacks, which when they're maxed out will give us 80% spell damage increase. We then have, and I didn't actually mean to have as many points in this, but you can see I'm getting some through my gear. So we've got the 48% chance when we defeat an enemy, and you'll see in a moment it's when we activate a spell as well to reload our gun. If you add in the spell stacks as well, it's around about over 60% chance we actually have, so very seldom will you have to actually reload your gun at all. Now moving over to the Graveborn here, this is the one I actually go away to the bottom. So you've got your kill skill here, which is your spell cooldown rate. We then have 2 points in this particular mode. I had to put it in there to go further down the tree. We have 3 points in Sanguine Sacrament, so this is giving us, it's 15% health regen per second, but it lasts for 2 seconds, so every time you cast a spell you're getting 30% of your health back, which is amazing. Put that alongside the ward, absolutely incredible. We have a 1 point Wonder here, it gives us 35% damage reduction via our companion. We then have a bonus dark magic damage, so our spells deal more damage, but we're getting life on hit from them as well, or we're getting life leech from them. You have Dark Hydra, so we've got some companions there. Another one-hit wonder, this one, so when we're casting a spell, your companion will cast Hellish Blast, and this gives them a chance to cast it again. It actually does decent damage. Now, this here is amazing. This is Ascension, and you can see it's buffed via gear. You want to buff this via gear if you can. So this goes to 10 stacks. It gives you an additional 10% health and 10% spell damage per stack, so that's 100%. Each stack lasts for 30 seconds, so once you've got those stacks up, they don't really drop off at all, so absolutely amazing. Lord of Edges, this particular one, when your health is low, you'll deal additional damage and you'll take less damage. We then have 1 point in Blast Gasp, just for the reason I had to put a point in it to go further down. Then we have Morhaim's Blessing. This particular one, when we cast a spell, we automatically activate all of our kill skills, and we had a ton of different kill skills then, and we're activating our spells all the time. So that's the skills. Let's look at the gear I'm using now. So gear wise here, I'm actually going to jump past the guns, because to be honest, I'm not using them much. In time I may find a gun that works great with a spell setup, but I'm not seeing anything. I know there is a melee weapon that works fantastic with a spell setup. When you do a melee attack, you get 80% spell damage for 6 seconds. Someone actually showed me a screenshot on Twitter. That looks amazing. That's what I'm ideally looking for. But if we look at the gear I've got here, in regards to your rings, what you're looking for is just spell damage. So you can see I've got the additional 15%. This is a chaotic ring, so it goes up to 17.1. It will eventually go higher if you can get one of them dropping at chaotic level 20. We then have this one. This is pretty awesome. I've only ever seen one of these so far yet. So it's a rune ability. So when I cast a spell, I summon a frost rune under a nearby enemy that explodes. Damage wise, I'm not too sure how much it's doing because I have so much going on from a damage perspective, but it has a nice enchantment, and if you look at the capacity on it, it's 6,000, which is absolutely huge. We then have our armour slot here, so we've got the third perk along, I can't remember the particular name of it, but you can see it gives us 5 out of 3, and that's the one that allows us the 100% additional health and 100% additional spell damage when we have 10 stacks of that. In regards to the perks that are on it, they're incredible. You get 30% maximum ward capacity, so that works really great with the high ward that I have. You've got spell crit chance, you've got area damage, you've got gun damage, and you've got companion critical chance as well. And we do have a companion out. Not much damage is coming from it, but it's still giving it a buff. We've got this pretty awesome item here. It's custom made for me, so it's lightning damage, Spellshot power, status effect damage, and then all damage dealt. I don't think I'm going to ever replace that slot. In regards to the spells, now what I would say is you can actually effectively dual wield in this game, and I mean by that is what you can do is you can either cast 2 spells at the same time, or you can shoot your gun with the right trigger and cast a spell with L1. Now for that reason, what you actually want to do, you want to have a spell that you'll be spamming constantly in L1. And if you want to go for a dual spell build, then you just stick one you spam in R1 as well. If you want to use your gun with this setup, then you go for something like this here. It's a longer cooldown. This is amazing. This is a nuke. It's a meteor that comes down and it just demolishes enemies. But this particular one here, you can see it's a longer cooldown. So what you could do is you would use your gun in your right hand, and then occasionally when you're reloading, you can fire off a meteor, but you'll constantly be spamming the L1 for this particular ability here. Now this ability is amazing. I was a bit put off channeling abilities at first because they felt a bit cumbersome to use, but the damage this does, and you'll see it once we get to the gameplay section, is just absolutely unbelievable. Some other spells I actually like to keep, because when you do some of the chaos level bosses, the resistances they have, if you go up against them with an opposite element, it is a noticeable damage you actually do. So I've got some really nice spells here. This one is a repeating one, it's firing off a ton of fireballs. This one's particularly good. I actually switched to it in the gameplay I'll be showing you later on. So this one, you have a big ice spike that comes out of the ground. If it's a flying enemy and you aim at them, the ice spike will hit them in air as well. And I've got 3 charges of this. I should actually note with the spells, what you're looking for is 3 or 4 charges and around about a 10-second cooldown. You can see I've actually got that over here. It's actually got a 6-second cooldown and it's got 4 charges, which is just absolute perfection. I've then got a poison one as well, and then we've got another lightning one. This is one that I can repeatedly cast, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually do lightning in both hands. I'll do one that I'm repeatedly casting and one that I'm charging for the burst damage. So the repeat cast is for your minions and the burst damage one is for your badasses. But there we go, that is the gear I'm using. Let's quickly look at the myth rank and where I've prioritised my points. Myth rank wise then, when it comes to Druid, I'm putting my points at the moment into Loot Luck so I can get some nicer legendaries. We then have Archmage. Point wise I've maxed out Intelligence, and then I'll just work my way along. I'll max these out and then eventually get to spell damage at the end. For Blade Master here, we've got Constitution and Strength maxed out, and then next up I'll start to put points in Dark Magic damage because I'm using that to an extent. And then finishing up this particular section here, I've put my points into move speed. Now, some of the later bosses you fight in the chaotic levels, movement and positioning is actually really pretty important. So if you can move faster, it gives you a massive amount of advantage. So that's everything there, and as mentioned, this is the build I used to smash my way all the way up to chaotic level 20, and yeah, it really wasn't that difficult at all. So I'll show you some gameplay now. As mentioned, unfortunately there's no actual sound for the gameplay here. Unfortunately that for some reason didn't go right, but I'll just place some music over it while it's actually playing there. But enjoy this gameplay. If the video has been helpful, please do take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and leave a comment below. Leaving a comment is exceptionally important, and let me know what other videos you want to see going forward for this game as well. But thanks for tuning in for this one. Stay safe, enjoy this gameplay, and I'll see you all again soon.